to live and to die, to look at the world and to react. The infinitive. Think about it. Stripped of time, stripped of agency, stripped of how sure you are that an action is even going to occur. The infinitive is the fruit still clinging to the tree. Who will pick it? When will it fall? Is it even edible? A worm. In English, the infinitive is easy to recognize. We flag it with the preposition to.
Is the infinitive really easy in English? Sure, you say to eat, to live, to speak, but what about eating, living, and speaking? Aren't they also infinitives? In Spanish, the infinitive is much more easily recognized. It is a verb that ends in -ir.
In Spanish, you don't really need a preposition to tell you that the verb is the infinitive. That's because the r tells us. But if this were the whole story, we wouldn't need to spend a whole episode on the infinitive. Differences in languages reflect something more than differences in dictionaries, a change in lexicon in words. They also reflect different strategies that we use to describe an idea. English, for instance, is what I call a noun-driven language. The grammar of English is relatively simple. The depth of meaning relies on the memorization of thousands of words, each with a subtle difference in meaning. English lexicon, that is, its dictionary, is constantly expanding. According to the Global Language Monitor, English reached its 1 millionth word on June 9th, 2009. Spanish is also a language rich in lexicon, but only has about half as many words as English. Spanish relies on the complexity of its grammar to reflect the same subtlety of meaning. We're now standing outside Wilson Hall, the flagship building here at Monmouth University. In a moment, I'll take you inside to explore. On this journey, I'll familiarize you with Spanish grammar. But let's, for the moment, tarry out here at the grand entrance to the building. Standing here, I gaze out on the infinite spaces undefined, where people have chosen not to raise walls or construct stairwells. If I take 3,000 steps in that direction, I'll be at the Atlantic Ocean. This is a place beyond walls, where time has no agency, where we can imagine that anyone and anything at this very moment is performing an action, has performed an action, and will perform an action somewhere on this landscape. In terms of grammar, out here in this world, the verbs are as naked as the animals, unrestricted as relates to subject, not doubting or even questioning the existence of doubt. The clouds pass timelessly through the late August sky. Time passes. I have passed, will pass, have passed this way many times. In Spanish, these infinite forms of the verbs, their primordial forms, always have the r of the cicada, the chirrido of the cricket, the flutter of a hummingbird wing, the ambient noise of life. English speakers, please don't growl at what you meet out in the infinite here, the subjectless who, the doubtless now. Instead, thrill with the oneness of the infinite, subjectless, doubtless here and now. One word of warning, grammar isn't math. As such, we have exceptions that speakers must learn, sadly. One such exception is the idea that when you're saying speaking is an infinitive, I'm not talking about when you say I am speaking, you are speaking, he was speaking. You're in the infinite form. You're in the infinitive unless you're using something like saying I am speaking. So when I say no smoking, I'm in the infinitive. When I say I am smoking, and you see I'm assigning somebody to that, I'm no longer in the infinitive. When you have an Asian, someone who is speaking, you are speaking, they were speaking, then it's something else entirely. Something we'll explore when we go into this building.
Es una buena idea entrar. Entrar es una buena idea.
Entering is a good idea. But if you enter this building, as wonderful as it is, you begin to be limited. You have to cast away that wonderful sense of the infinity. You're defining yourself in time in there. You are assigning yourself ownership of an action in there. And you're even casting doubt on whether or not the action is actually happening. And because that's the case, we have to leave our R's, our R out here. Drop the R's and enter the building.
Así que ustedes quieren aprender a usar el infinitivo. Les felicito. Es bastante fácil. ¿Alguien me puede contar cuándo se usa el infinitivo? Ay. Dios mío. Me siento morir, Juancito. Has estudiado el castellano por 7 años. ¿Usted se nos puede explicar el asunto?
Pero profe yo no sé nada. No entiendo nada. Pregúntale María.
María, ¿usted sabe que se usa el infinitivo después de los verbos conjugados? Ante todo cuando no hay cambio de sujeto. María. María. María.